Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. I'm using the wrong camera. Today we are reviewing the Brooks Adrenaline GTS 23. Let's get into it. Dirty. Okay, story time. Of course, you have to always hear the story first. So I completed my first marathon, Nashville Marathon, at the end of April. So this is actually my second pair. I will show a picture or a short clip of the first pair I got, which I got a big chunk taken out of my heel. So I actually put 300 miles on the first pair, and I have about 100 miles on this pair right now. Currently transitioning into some other shoes as well, but these are currently still kind of taking up the majority of my miles still. First and foremost, this is a stability shoe. So this is the GTS, which is go-to support. This is going to keep you running straight if you have pronation, supination issues. This is a high drop shoe. We have a 34 millimeter stack height in the heel and 22-ish in the toe, resulting in a 12 millimeter heel to toe drop. This is a high drop shoe. I recently got diagnosed with posterior tibial tendon dysfunction. Not quite sure what my current status is of that now. I seem to be recovering, doing all the exercises, not getting plantar fasciitis from it. Arch pain is better, but this shoe kept me running. I had to switch over back to these and give my calves a break. This shoe has a 22% minimalist index, in case you care about that metric, meaning high heel drop, moderate stack height. This is a very rigid shoe. It's designed for people like me, or in certain phases of injury or that need a stability shoe. I think Brooks is probably one of the best stability shoe options out there. The upper is mesh. This is a very narrow toe box. Not a fan of this aspect of this shoe. I think Brooks could do a better job at just giving me a little bit more room in the toe box. I have a dead toenail on my left foot. I think because of this, that or just the lack of cushioning on the forefoot. The insole that comes with the shoe is, it's pretty standard. It does have a decent arch right here. So that makes sense. This is a stability shoe. So this is for people who have problems with pronation, which need to keep the arch supported. But I did actually use some power step insoles when I ran my marathon in these, and on my training up to the point of running. I did actually take my power steps out and put these back in. I'm trying to transition out of those insoles, and it's a lot better ride, honestly. So all that power return was dampened by my insoles, and so I got faster as soon as I took the insoles out. So that's good to know. So these have guide rails, counters to keep your feet straight. And one of the things I like about that is just really teaching your brain what running straight feels like. So it really kind of helps after a while. I think it's going to translate into other shoes of having that same sensation of knowing what it's supposed to feel like. Pronation is not a bad thing, as long as your tissues and your tendons and ligaments can actually support that natural pronation. It's a shock absorber. I am a moderate fan of Brooks. My first half marathon, we're running the Brooks Trace 2. My first full marathon, we're running these Adrenaline GTS 23s. I keep wanting to get away from Brooks to venture into other shoes, especially shoes like Topo, but so far I've had to keep coming back to Brooks because of the high heel drop, especially with trying to transition too much, including Ultra. I had to take those shoes back because I did too much too soon, and that's probably where the posterior tibial tendonitis came in. So who is this shoe for? Well, if you have any pronation issues, I would recommend the GTS line. If your calves need a break, you might need to look at higher heel-to-toe drop shoes, which Brooks categorically are. Yeah, overall, every time I try to get away from using Brooks, I end up regretting it. So we will see what the next phase looks like with me using other shoe brands, other shoes. I have mixed feelings about this shoe because I had to use it for a time. I'm hoping that I can transition out of this shoe because that means I no longer need it. That means I'm healing up, that my posterior tibial tendon is doing better. Time will tell. So if you need a shoe in this category, I definitely recommend the Adrenaline GTS 23s. Can you run a marathon in these? Technically, yes, you can. I just did that. There may be some that might need more cushion. It's not the most cushiony ride, which I'm a fan of. I would say it's more of a moderate stack height. So still pretty low to the ground. Still get a little bit of the ground feel compared to other higher stack shoes or super shoes. And I did basically any distance, short runs, long runs, races in these. Are you going to perform? Probably not. But for average runners like me, I'm not really looking to beat anybody. I'm just looking to finish. And for me, finishing my first marathon was the ultimate goal. I had a 4-hour time goal, which I did not hit. I finished in 4:36. There was a lot of walking at the end, especially a lot of hills. It was a very hot, humid, high dew point day, and I trained in the cold. So I trained from January all the way up to race day, including obviously the taper. But in April, it got hot really fast, and my average heart rate for the same paces was about 20 beats per minute higher on race day than my long runs. So definitely impacted by the heat. I stopped at every single hydration station, walked a bit, watched my heart rate, and my goals quickly shifted from sub 4 to just finish. And so I did. And because of the posterior tibialis tendon dysfunction, I was a little spooked about changing shoes. And that impacted my pace on race day, that impacted my training plan. I didn't have a shoe rotation, which probably hurt me in the long run because I didn't know. It was just a variable that I was too scared to change. I found a pair of shoes that worked for me, that I could run in still and stay active and train in without experiencing a lot of pain. So I stuck with these until I could get through my marathon, I could finish. And now that I'm recovering and resting and resetting and just testing the waters, I'm not so beholden to these shoes because it's not going to impact any races for me so far. After post-marathon blues have kicked in a little bit, I have a sprint triathlon, my first triathlon coming up at the beginning of June. And that's the Music City Triathlon, which I have started to train for that, getting my bike ready. I currently plan to be running in the Topo Cyclone 2s, which I'm super excited about. Overall, I give the Brooks Adrenaline GTS 23s a solid 8 out of 10. If you are in need of a stability shoe, especially in a temporary fashion, I think that this is fitting for people in a certain time frame of healing or needing some stability while they work on their pronation issues, their foot stability. If it had a wider toe box, I would recommend it for longer, but I don't recommend being in a narrow toe box shoe for extended periods of time. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Checking in the halfway point. Feeling pretty good. I can't keep my heart rate down, but otherwise I'm feeling alright. Stopping at every water station. And definitely thinned out once split from full to half. 13 more to go. I'm at mile marker almost 22. This is kind of stupid. Almost there, but man, everything's locked up. Still walking at every station. Gonna see everyone in agony on the way back, passing the other side. 4 more miles to go. Done. I'm not running for a while. This is gonna be rough. All right.